I've been to about 50 islands in the Caribbean, and some of them are pretty big, some of them are pretty small, some of them have very big international airports. Some of the airports are so small the planes have to stop for car traffic. But at every one of these, I fill out an immigration form. And as you all know, it's very time consuming, it's very tedious, and they also ask for your email address. And at almost every one of these airports, I've given them my email address. And in all these years, I've never gotten an email. And think about for a second the number that's being thrown about, 26 million stayover visitors to the Caribbean last year. That's a lot of emails that never went out. And that's a lot of missed opportunities. That's millions of missed opportunities. But why? Because a visitor is not just a visitor when they set foot on the tarmac. And a guest is not just a guest when they check into the hotel. And they're still a visitor when they leave. Because, and we know this to be true at Caribbean Journal, people love the Caribbean. There's something special about the Caribbean for a traveler. There's a certain extra passion that people have for the region. And it means that the relationship with the traveler, the relationship with the guest, never ends, and it goes far beyond a single stay. Now, that passion on the one hand makes people more open to engagement, but it also makes the engagement itself much more important. I was in Bonaire a couple of years ago, and Bonaire had a really interesting program called Bonaire Ambassadors. And what that is people who come for years and years to Bonaire. They register their visits, the tourism board works with them, talks to them, and then they celebrate them when you come like 20 times, 30 times. The platinum level ambassador has been to Bonaire 30 times. Now these people have a relationship with Bonaire, and Bonaire, more importantly, has a relationship with them. Now I think the takeaway from that is that the Caribbean needs to make every visitor an ambassador like that. We need to make everyone feel, whether they've been once or 30 times, like there's a relationship. And the best way to do that is through constant engagement. Isn't that why we have Twitter accounts and Facebook pages and LinkedIn and MailChimp? It's important that we constantly talk to travelers. We need to talk to them before they arrive, we need to celebrate them while they're here, and then we need to talk to them after they leave. It's about interaction and it's about engagement. And that's why we have this panel today to talk about engagement marketing and what that means. So we have some great panelists here. Two will be here in person, one will be via Skype. We have Carolyn Coyle. She's the Vice President of Brand Strategy at the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. That's the destination marketing organization for Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. We have Melissa Benheim, Account Executive at Cheryl Andrews Marketing. She handles media relations for resort and destination clients around the Caribbean. And we have Vidya Chadaga, the Director of Product Marketing at Marquito, who works with partner channels to drive joint positioning, messaging, and market strategy for companies like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, SAP, and Microsoft. We're going to start with Carolyn, and I want you to talk to us a little bit about engagement marketing. Actually, we're not going to start with Carolyn. We're going to start with Melissa. I changed my mind. Go for it.
Thank you, Alex. All right. Good morning, everyone. As Alex said, this is the last session before lunch, so we're going to keep it fun and engaging, and hopefully you'll learn a couple things along the way. So my presentation is on putting the engagement in engagement marketing. First, a brief roadmap. I'm going to give a bit of background on myself, what is engagement marketing, how it's evolved over time, in particular, what it is on social media, what you can do with this, and then wrap it up with time for takeaways and questions. So first, a little bit about myself. I come from a hospitality background, a graduate of Cornell University's School of Hotel Administration, and through various internships and time with Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, I have worked in pretty much every department of the hotel, so I know how that all works. And since joining CAMC, I've transitioned more into social media strategy for clients. And for those who don't know, CAMC, or Cheryl Andrews Marketing Communications is the full name. We're a boutique travel PR firm, and we have handled media relations for more than 100 high-profile clients, including international tourist boards, individual hotels, and more. So first, a brief definition of what is engagement marketing. Engagement marketing is about creating meaningful interactions with people based on who they are and what they do, continuously over time, towards a directed outcome everywhere they are. In my presentation, we're going to focus on this part, creating meaningful interactions with people. So first, let's take a look at how engagement marketing has evolved and how people are interacting today. Well, as you can see, it's more and more on electronic media, and people are interacting online, not just face-to-face. More specifically, they're interacting on social media. So to define that, what is engagement on social media and what are these meaningful interactions? Anytime anybody likes, comments on, or shares a post, looking at Facebook as an example, that's considered an engagement. And for our purposes, engagements and interactions are interchangeable. So the first question here, how does this apply to tourist boards? Well, in a study done recently by Deloitte and Facebook, it found that digital channels ranked only behind friends and family and word of mouth as sources for travel ideas. People are turning to social media to make decisions about travel, so it's an opportunity for you to drive conversation about your brand and engage with current and potential fans, ultimately taking them from social media to your website to book. Throughout today's presentation, I'm going to use our resort destination client, Hawks Cay, as an example. Rather than trying to pick a favorite among any of our resort or destination clients in the Caribbean, because every client is our favorite, I chose to use our Florida client as an example. First, I'm going to show you a meaningful interaction on Facebook as an example. Here, we put up a post about the resort's new penthouse suites. A previous guest commented on it, saying she just showed the post to her son who's in the hospital and he can't wait to come back to the resort. We engaged with her on the post, and then we took it one step further, having our partners at the resort send a get well card and a stuffed animal to the boy, which led to this. The fan posting a photo of her son with the card and the stuffed animal on the resort's Facebook page, thanking them for their generosity. This is great for a number of reasons. Number one, it's positive PR from an outside credible source. Number two, it continues the conversation about the resort among other potential and current guests. And number three, it increases engagement. So you might ask yourself, great story, but what can I do with this? Well, you can measure these meaningful interactions, and that's what I'm going to show you now. To measure engagement, we look at the sum of all of the interactions divided by the total post reach. In other words, it's the sum of all the likes, comments, and shares divided by the total number of people who saw the post. So I'm going to show this to you an example here. This right here is a view that anybody can see as an administrator to a Facebook business page. So here we have the likes, comments, and shares at the bottom. And we're going to sum those up. The 279 likes plus 10 comments plus 23 shares is a total of 312 interactions. Then we look at the post reach, which is right above those interactions. The post reach is 8,821 people. So tying that all together, we sum up the likes, comments, and shares in blue and divide it by the reach in green. So then to calculate our engagement rate, that gives us 3.5%. Now this number means that 3.5% of the people who saw the post were compelled enough to like it, comment on it, or share it. Now, you might ask, does this only apply to Facebook? It applies to other platforms, and I have an example here from Instagram and Twitter. So looking at engagement on Instagram, we're going to sum up the 38 comments and 317 likes. Now, an important note about comments here on Instagram, every comment counts as an engagement, so whether it's your fans or you engaging back with your fans, that all counts and it helps you. So we add the 355 interactions, divide that by 7,400 followers, and we have a 4.8% engagement rate. If we look at this on Twitter, we have favorites, retweets, and replies as a substitution for likes, comments, and shares, and we divide it by 2,078 impressions. So here, 30 interactions divided by 2,078 impressions is a 1.4% engagement rate. This number is a lot lower than the other two, you might note, and that is because on Twitter, when we use impressions as opposed to reach, that means that the same person could have seen the same tweet multiple times, so that number is usually larger. Now, what can you do with these numbers? There are three things. You can tailor your content to create content that will better engage and resonate with your audience, thereby growing your engagement, and then you can ultimately beat your competitors. So if we tie this all together, there's that part about the definition of continuously over time. And this includes positive and negative interactions, because negative engagement is still engagement. And if you choose to not engage with somebody who posts something negative, you're losing an opportunity to change perception about your brand, and you're not helping your engagement at all. After all, remember the statistic from the beginning that almost 60% of people worldwide say they expect brands to respond to social media comments regarding service at least most of the time. So here I have an example of a negative engagement and what we did with it. A guest purchased a stay at the resort on the flash sale site Groupon. She went to go book it and found that Groupon had changed the dates, they would not honor it, and the resort would not issue a refund. So she took to Facebook to express her frustration and to warn others against staying at the resort. We engaged with her here, taking the customer service issue offline to resolve it, and then which led to her posting a comment thanking the resort for resolving her situation and letting people know that the manager is what keeps customers coming back. Not only that, but she also posted a comment on her previous post, alerting people to check her more recent post for what happened for the full story. Why is it worth investing your time? Well, if we look at holidays in the sense that Americans use the word vacation, it's already driving a large portion of the conversation. And remember from the beginning, social media is the #1 driver of website referral traffic. We're in the business of tourism, and it's in our best interest to not only have a presence, but an engaged and fully integrated presence as part of an overall strategy. This is why it's important to invest time, money, resources, and experience on your social media strategy and to engage with your fans. Ultimately, it's your chance to make a lasting first impression and to turn your fans into brand ambassadors. In closing, I have 4 challenges as takeaways. I challenge you to create meaningful interactions and then measure them and use your insights from it to better tailor your content. I challenge you to respond to people talking about your brand, both positive and negative. And lastly, I challenge you to remember your objective. If it's to increase new and repeat visitors to your destination, have that in the back of your mind as you're engaging with your fans. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback after the presentation, you can reach out at any of the channels here. This presentation is available for you to download later at your leisure with the bit.ly link here.
Hello. Thank you very much, Melissa. I guess first question, is there a big difference in the way that sort of a hotel should go about doing its engagement versus a tourism board on social media?
I think it depends. This case study that I used is a resort destination client, we call it. So it has much more different offerings than a standard hotel. I would say the same tactics of engaging with your guests individually and seeing ways that you can tie things together with them on social media remain the same. People love to be called out. They love to feel important. and something simple as you responding to them in a comment will go a long way.
I know a lot of big brands and even tourist boards will have a certain person doing social media, but a lot of companies seem to be afraid to engage because they're worried about what might happen. They're worried that maybe the person doing social media isn't really speaking for the company, or the social media person will have to get permission to say something. Is there a way to make it so that the interaction is more informal and easier to kind of be approved and easier to do, where it doesn't become bureaucratic and then you never respond? Or
I would say for us, and just as a note, everything I presented in the presentation here is an example of organic ways that we've engaged with customers for this particular resort client. So obviously we tailor our needs to our different clients' strategies and goals. But to answer your question with that, I would say having a good contact at wherever the tourist board is. So if there's one centralized person that we can get the information from, because you can see there's customer service issues here, but not only that, it requires a knowledge of the product and offerings to be able to have that sort of the moment, that spontaneous engagement with people. So having one person and then the knowledge of the product offering, it's good to have somebody that's very well aware of it so you can engage with customers that way.
so, I mean, is it almost a way to think about this as almost a customer service position rather than a social media position?
It's
If
both.
you're going to hire for that, it's both.
I would say there's definitely, and depending on your audience and how they like to engage with you, it can be more customer service for one client or destination, and others it can be more, brand ambassadors and speaking with people really more about the destination.
Just the last question. You mentioned kind of the ways to measure Twitter versus Facebook. How would you kind of describe the difference or ways to think about the difference between engaging with someone on Twitter or engaging with someone on Facebook?
I would say definitely the impressions versus reach is the first part. So reach deals with the number of people, whereas impressions is the number of times it was seen. So it can be seen by the same person multiple times. I would say in terms of looking at somebody's Facebook page, if you look at lots of comments on a post from other people and the resort engaging with them, that's a good way to see your engagement. And then on Twitter, you look at a company that's replying at people, retweeting, really engaging with their fan base, that it's not just a stream of all of their tweets.
Great. Anybody in the audience, put to the audience, anyone questions for Melissa? You get a microphone over there? Or just shout. Yeah. Questions about negative comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's say somebody has a negative experience of a resort. Posts it on the Facebook page, and then the company replies. Would you say that negative experience, take it offline or not, or just continue it in the comments for everybody to see?
My personal preference is to take specific issues offline. In that case, we don't delete negative reviews. I highly discourage that. We respond to them there, and then if there are any further questions or issues, we take it offline by requesting them to put it in a private message, so at least it's off publicly, especially for people who have concerns about finances or specific things about their stay. We always want to be cognizant of people's personal information, so we want to avoid that perception, definitely.
I'd like to give a big round of applause for Melissa, and then bring up Carolyn.
And in representing Las Vegas, it's always something fun in terms of digital engagement and social media. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the evolving consumer. I think today's consumer, obviously, because of technology, is much more savvy than it has been before. And I think that also the marketing landscape has changed more in the last 5 years than it has in the past 25 years. So that's it's a challenge, but it also provides opportunity for us. We do a lot of research at LVCVA, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. So I don't owe a dollar to the jar there for that acronym. But we find that on average, consumers visit 36 websites before they actually take a holiday to Las Vegas. That's a lot of competition. It's really information overload, and we like to think that we have gone beyond traditional methods of reaching the consumer and making it more engaging for them. Sounds a little cliche, but content is king, and more importantly, branded content is king for us. Our real focal point of our marketing strategy is on content creation and curation. It's our job really to give consumers what they want, and we need to educate them on our product also. So this is one of the ways that we do it. If we're going to tell a story online, it has to be effective, and therefore it has to be engaging. And really, they don't want it to feel like advertising anymore, and we look at that as a way to make advertising really more fun. There's 5 key pillars to our digital strategy. Video content development, which is really how we highlight our resort partners throughout the destination, and then content creators. So if you look at all of the influencers that are out there, they have a very unique way of telling their story, and we can engage with them so that they tell our story through their eyes, and we reach a whole new audience. I'll touch on social media and our platforms, as well as Melissa made mention of. It's very important to speak to the customer on each channel with very specific messaging. So we like to think that we do a good job of that too. Also, international visitation is very, very important to Las Vegas. It's 20% of our market share currently, and we need to continue to grow that. So we need to speak with people on social platforms internationally. And then LasVegas.com, which is our website, our portal. And we're starting to use some virtual reality there, which is also a little bit of fun. But emerging technology is also a focal point for us. When it comes to our video strategy, we look at it through creation, curation, and collaboration. So we create content, again, showing the entire destination, and it's immense. It's really overwhelming for people who have never been to Las Vegas and who need to get educated, and we want to help them make that choice to buy a trip to Las Vegas. We also work very closely with our resort partners, all of the resorts in Las Vegas, to curate their content on our channels. And then we collaborate with media partners such as Vice and Twitter and Saveur. I have a couple of examples to show you of some of the collaborations with them. And earlier this year, we implemented a very aggressive video content creation strategy where we created 32 short and long-term videos featuring 28 of our hotel partners at 76 unique venues. So basically, we're looking to inspire people to make that trip. We want to connect with them on an emotional level. And I'm going to show you some examples of some things that we have done recently. Crew Elevator. And I don't know if any of you are aware that Las Vegas is a very important EDM, electronic dance music destination. We have the Electric Daisy Carnival out there each year, and we have some of the hottest DJs in the entire world who perform there on a nightly basis. So there's a DJ duo called Cruella, and they play at Hakkasan and also at Omnia at Caesars, the new club there. So we partnered with MGM Grand, where Hakkasan is located, and we created this Only in Vegas moment, where we actually this is where it gets a little bit creepy, guys. We stalked their fans. We knew they were checking into the hotel, and we created a moment. We made up a story that they were going to meet with their manager, and we whisked them off to another area. It took about a day at MGM Grand, but without us going and asking them and them saying, yes, we will let you take over a bank of elevators for a day to create this, then, you know, we wouldn't have anything to show for it. So I encourage you all to be brave and take risks and don't be afraid. That surprise and delight moment generated over 1 million views in the first month alone. So it was just a great collaboration and a great way for us to connect to that millennial audience that is so important to everybody. So we worked with Wynn Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay Resort, and Monte Carlo Resort, and we interviewed their chefs. We showed them in their kitchen, showing various different experiences that they do while they're working in their own environment, but also we took them out of their kitchens and we had them go to various different restaurants and bars off the strip, showing people where they would go if they were going out with their friends, if they had visitors in town, just something that really connected with the serious foodie and just telling really personal stories, connecting with the chef. And it has also been a tremendous success. So on to our digital content partnerships. There are incredible storytellers out there in the form of Instagrammers and Vine video creators all across the globe. We also have connected with some great media companies such as Vice, and they have a very different perspective on the world in general, and we want to, again, have them tell the Las Vegas story from their perspective, and it has also been very, very successful. And I think one of the things that we talk a lot about is authenticity. But having these brands tell our story through their brand voice really speaks volumes for authenticity. And another example, we did a partnership with with Twitter and Niche, and we brought 5 Vine creators to the destination over a 3-day period, and they created 25 pieces of content that resulted in over 69 million video views and 1.5 million engagements. So again, very, very impactful. We obviously have a lovely media budget that we share out with many media partners. And one of our added value components with Sony Crackle TV and a Play It Forward program that they have it involved bringing the band Imagine Dragons to the Las Vegas Strip for a surprise and delight moment again. They did a pop-up concert in front of the Bellagio fountains, and it was absolutely fantastic. They're a hometown band. We didn't tell anybody about it until about a half an hour beforehand. We tweeted it out, and I'm going to show you the results of it here. Speak a little bit about our social media efforts here. It's a key distribution channel for all of the content that we create, and clearly you can see that we spend a lot of time and resources on creating this content. We have a database of 2.2 million. So essentially, these are people who already have an affinity towards Las Vegas, and we want to keep that connection very much alive. However, we know also that they want that content tailored to the very specific channels that they're watching it on, and they expect that. So we engage our users across all different platforms using channel-specific content. And I will tell you that I believe Instagram, Tumblr, and Pinterest, we've had a 34% year-over-year database growth from those channels alone, and it really is due to having that specificity and having channel-specific content on those channels. So talking to them in the voice that they expect, and we want to move consumers to really love the brand. So we want to talk to them in a way that they feel most comfortable. Moving on here, GeoVegas is a portal that we have on our website, lasvegas.com. And we originally created it in partnership with Google. And it allows us to showcase various different journeys that we've curated for people who really don't know what to do when they come to Las Vegas. You know, it's like looking at all of those websites and they see all the clubs and the restaurants and the hotels and they don't know where to stay. So we've curated various different journeys for them. And it's a really immersive way for the consumer to engage with the brand before they get here from the comfort of their living room, or if they're playing hooky on lunchtime at the office and they're online, whatever they're doing, planning their trip. And what we've found since we launched Geo Vegas on the website, that we've received over 850,000 visits to this particular portion of the of LasVegas.com, and so they're spending more time also on the Geo Vegas portion of the website than any other part. And this is an evergreen program for us. So the next evolution of it is we'll be doing a lot of 360 degree experiences and showcasing. There's a lot of new technology now around the 360 filming, so we've engaged in that, and I have a very brief clip here to show you.
Welcome to a look at Las Vegas from the inside. Welcome to Geo Vegas. Get a look at restaurants, pools, clubs, spas, gardens, and guest rooms on a more intimate level. Find details and planning tools, or just hop around. From a city that's famous for keeping secrets, you're now welcome to take a peek. Welcome to Geo Vegas.
So I encourage you to go on and play around with that. It is a lot of fun. So finally, I want to touch on the importance of the international marketing for us, and we really do need to grow our international visitation. So we have globalized our social media presence as a result of that strategy. Then last year alone, we launched 9 different global pages in our key international markets. So that means that we can create relevant content to each country and really speak to the people in those countries in their own voice and engage with them in a relevant way. And one example of that, when we did our 360 shooting last month of Nobu Suite in Caesar's Palace, Chef Nobu, who's a master chef, world-renowned, he actually did part of the tour, and he did it in Japanese and in English, so that we would be able to speak with the Japanese market in a meaningful way. And so that really is just a snippet of what we do and how we try to engage with our customer base in Las Vegas.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. It's just one question. Obviously, the multifaceted approach is great. If the resources aren't there and you had to pick one avenue, obviously this is, it's hard to play favorites, but you had to pick one avenue and you're telling Caribbean tourism boards here, they had one thing to focus on, which one would it be, or what would you focus on?
Well, everything we do in Las Vegas is grounded in research from beginning to end. And we really talk to our customers, we listen to our customers, and they, at the end of the day, they drive the marketplace for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a big brand or a hotel or a small brand. And I would say listen to your customers, understand them. If you don't do research, start. It's invaluable, and it really validates all of the money that we do spend at the end of the day. And the return on investment is something that is very important to us as well.
Any questions from the audience? All right.
When are you all coming to Vegas?
Thanks again, Carolyn.
Thank you.
And now we're going to go to Vidya. Do we still have you?
Hello everyone, my name is Vidya Chitara. I am the Director of Product Marketing here at Curacao. Unfortunately, I can't see all of you, and when I think back, I don't know why I didn't book my tickets on time to be there in person. Yes, I'm in sunny California, but nothing can beat the Caribbean Islands. So it's a miss on my part, but hopefully in the next 10 minutes, I can share some of the key insights on creative marketing with you guys. By the way, Melissa, I am honored and thrilled that you picked engagement marketing from Curacao to base your presentation on. This is great because the audience can now weave the principles and what you gave as actual tips together and take it back. So I want to start off. So my presentation, I want to split it into two parts. The first part, let's just level set so all of us are on the same page. And then the last 5 minutes, I want to talk about the 5 principles of engagement marketing and how you can apply it to the tourism industry, to the hospitality industry, and so on. So, to take a step back, the quest of every consumer marketer is the same, right? It is to acquire new customers, to get new visitors, to engage with them, to grow their lifetime value, and to build brand advocates, who in turn will help you acquire new customers over a period of time. So this is this virtuous cycle that is the quest of every marketer. And this is irrespective of the industry, and I am a consumer marketer. I own the B2C segment at Marketo for product marketing, and I know for a fact that every customer across all industries, small companies, large companies, enterprises, the quest is the same. So keeping that in mind, oh, good, now I can see Carolyn, Melissa, and Alex. Hi, guys. So that's the quest of every consumer marketer. And then in the next 3 slides, let me present to you, and hopefully the panelists can agree with me, that this is the reality we're living today. So today's world, here's a stat that Marketo researched. Each of us in the room, we are bombarded with 2,900 marketing messages every single day. It's the digital world we live in. That's just the reality of it. The second is your visitors, our buyers today have self-directed journeys. What I mean by that is, gone are the days when you would need to buy something, so you would go to the shop and look for the sales guys to sell it to you. Today the time is when you're doing your own research, you're going online, you're talking to your colleagues, you're talking to your neighbors, your friends, on social media. It's just a lot of self-directed journey. You don't want the brand to talk to you. You want to engage with the brand when you are ready. So Forrester also agrees with this. About, on an average, 70 to 80% of buyers' journey today is self-directed. And then the third reality is, we demand a personalized experience from every brand, every cruise line, every hotel that's out there. And Melissa, you hit on this a little bit, that one response on Facebook means a lot. That personalized experience, that word of mouth, that brand experience, that meaningful experience stays with not just that one person, but it spreads to the community. And in today's world, that's exactly what's happening. Now think about it from the hotel's perspective, from the brand's perspective. As consumers are expecting this personalized experience, brands now have to deliver that at scale. So that's the third reality we live in. So that was us level setting. And for the first time in years and decades, marketing is becoming the steward of these visitors' journeys. And to win this new world, the new world with these 3 realities of 2,900 messages, self-directed journeys, and this expectation of a personalized service, it requires new rules of engagement. And at Marketo, we call that engagement marketing. And this is just a historical view. People ask me, hey, but there are always television ads, advertising hasn't that high. Yes, but that's mass marketing, where you as a brand would say, I have a message, I'm going to shout off the rooftops and ask you to listen to it. Those were the yesteryears. And then came the internet, where you had transactional marketing. We were happy if somebody just clicked the buy button, gave us some cash, we would send the product, it was a transaction. Those are gone. We've entered the era of engagement marketing, which is all about building personalized and lifelong relationships. And Melissa hit on one of this, but because we curated the term and we are preaching about engagement marketing, we've simplified it as the A, B, C, D, E of engagement marketing. And I highly encourage you, if you leave with anything else, you're rushing away to lunch, remember the A, B, C, D, E's of engagement marketing. So engage people as individuals based on what they do, continuously over time, directed towards an outcome, and everywhere they are. And I know that both Carolyn and Melissa presented already, so I'll be cognizant of some of the things they've already said and not repeat it. But so I'll go, the next 5 to 10 slides are on each of these principles, so you can apply to your business and see how you can maybe think about engagement marketing for your organization. So number one is engage visitors as individuals. The time is gone when you are having multiple conversations and just blasting and at that audience. Today, it's all about one-to-one communications, where you need to engage people as individuals. Simple example is Amazon. I can't see the audience, I can see the three of you, but assuming each of you in the room just fired up your Mac and you went to Amazon.com, I can guarantee you that each of us will see something different. That's because they are engaging us as individuals based on what we've done. And that is the expectation of all brands today. Be it Netflix or Amazon, they are leaders, they are leading the charter, but individuals are getting used to it and visitors are getting used to it. They demand that kind of experience. Look at this beach. Beautiful resort on the beach, right? You all want to go there. But each of us, depending on who we are, see this differently. The young college grad, when they look at or when they search for a vacation, and this example is the Viking River Cruises, which is a customer of Curacao, what they do is, there's a Google search, let's say, people are searching for young college grad, searching for a cruise, but they are looking for a party cruise or a party vacation. And so when they go to the Viking River Cruises page, even before you know who the visitor is, you're already presented with the most relevant web page, because you don't want to, it's almost like the web page was created for them. Similarly, a family going on vacation is looking for kid-friendly activities. A mature couple is looking for a relaxing luxury of holiday. So the same resort has to present a different view because you have to engage these visitors as individuals. Second principle is engage visitors based on what they do. I have some bad news for the audience. Who you are is not as important as what you do. So demographic is just a sliver of information. But what you do is so much more important, because that is what lets a marketer engage with you on a personal basis. So it's not just about what they do, but look at the same example. It's also about how and when you engage with people. So for example, this particular person, this is spring break, so April is the time you want to engage with them. They're on their cell phone most of the times. These are the millennials, so you want to engage with them on the cell phone. Let's say it's the family, you send them an email, you engage with them on the cell phone, you send them reminders, all of that. Maybe for the senior couple, they would like to talk to the consular agent and make sure that they're getting the most for their investment and their time. So it is based on what you do that people need to be engaged as. The third principle is continuously over time, and Melissa, you picked up this a little bit. What we mean by continuously over time is we are going away from these one-time, point-in-time campaigns. That's, as a marketing organization, and Alex, you threw out the stat, 26 million stay-over visitors and 0 emails. I mean, that was mind-boggling. I wasn't sure if my video was getting sent across to the audience, so I didn't want to go on Twitter and tweet you, but that's a staggering stat. It's unbelievable that you have that kind of database and you are not nurturing them continuously over time. So what we mean by continuously over time is, irrespective of what is happening at what point in time, there's always something you can do for your visitor. Maybe at one point in time it's a party cruise. Maybe they're ready to buy a vacation at the timeshare. Maybe they're interested in an all-inclusive this year because now they've started a family. Whatever it is, continuously having a conversation. So you're engaging with them even when they're not ready to go on a vacation. Even when they're not ready to engage to spend money with you, you are still top of mind. Don't forget, 5,900 marketing messages. You close your eyes and you think about a cruise line, and why is it that a particular cruise line will come to the top of mind? That's because you've engaged with them constantly over time. And I can throw out hundreds of examples of how some consumer brands are doing this, but in the interest of time, I'll move on to the next principle, which is directed towards an outcome. This is a principle none of us spoke about, so let me spend one extra minute on this. We are not in the business of philanthropy. That's just it. We are here to make money. So it's important that as consumers own their own journey and they go on a journey, that we marketers, we brands, shepherd them on that journey. We just assist them and aid them on that journey. We take them towards the outcome, which is kind of the outcome we want them to take anyway. But that's a goal that they've decided to venture on. For example, let's say someone comes to this event, someone has a conversation with you, someone wants to get Melissa's card and have a detailed conversation when she goes back. That's one meaningful interaction. What are you doing there? You are maybe, Melissa, you're taking a chance to have a conversation with that person at the event. But you don't stop there. Now imagine after you've gathered their information, you put it in your marketing database when you go back home, and then you say, hey, you know what, that person has had this interaction, that was one goal. How can we get them to becoming a customer, a visitor? How can we get them to doing the next thing? You slowly educate them, you nurture them, you put them on a track so they are able to, you're able to know a little more about them. I talk about the symbiotic. They are now very pixelated. You really don't, you're not able to paint a picture of them yet because you've just had one conversation. Now imagine they come to your website, they download a brochure, they attend a webinar, they do something. That's when you are deliberately directing them towards the next goal, the next outcome. And that's what we mean by engaged visitors, directing them towards that outcome. I've given 3 examples here, and I've tried to make it as tourism-centric as possible. Let's say the Marriott group of hotels or the Hilton group of hotels has an app, and now you encourage people to download the app, to try and evaluate it, and maybe to join the membership. That's one journey in the entire life cycle of the consumer. The next is maybe you want the family to research the timeshare, attend a free session, reserve something, and then buy the timeshare. That's another journey you can put them on. Then, and frankly, this could be, as much as the pictures are different, these could be the same sets of people, but going on different journeys. And then, you know, the last example is the couple goes on the cruise, they have a great time, they enjoy, they share this information, and they become evangelists, advocates of the brand. Right? That's a goal as well. So those are like 3 examples of various journeys, various goals you could direct people towards. Last but not the least, this has taken the world on fire, which is please engage people everywhere they are. The double emphasis is on the word they. And what we mean here is this is a digital world, and you know that people are either web savvy, or they are mobile savvy, or they are email savvy, or they are social savvy. You as a brand you have to listen from everywhere and respond in the same channel that they reach out to. Let's say, Carolyn, they watched the video and they enjoyed the video, they leave you a tweet on Twitter. Would it make sense for you to reach out to them back via email? No. You want to respond first on Twitter and then maybe have an offline conversation, absolutely. But you want to be where they are because that's their choice. And this is just to say that in today's world, it's gone from multi-channel to cross-channel. And I'm happy to send you guys more information on the differences between multi-channel, cross-channel, and omni-channel. But in simple English, cross-channel is when you do something on one channel, you close it because you just got distracted, and you go to another channel. Let's say you're taking the BART in the evening, public transportation in the evening, and you fire up your cell phone, you should be able to continue the conversation. You should be able to go to the next page in the book versus starting from the first page of the book every single time. So that's the continuous conversation across channels, and that is cross-channel experience. So
Great.
finally, just to reiterate, engagement marketing are the 5 principles, ABCDEs. There's tons of content we have. I'm happy to share it with you. I want to thank you for your time. Please tweet me. I love tweets. It's at Vidya PC. A fun, funny, interesting tweet. I'll make sure I send you something back from Marquetta. With that, any questions, Alex?
I did put that to the audience. Any questions for Vidya? Another round of applause.
Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for coming. Thank our panelists, Melissa, Carolyn, Vidya. I think the biggest takeaway is just that it's not that complicated. It's just having a conversation with people. You know, I see a lot of Caribbean tourism boards on their Twitter. They never retweet anybody. They never mention anyone. They never respond. And it's like, it's easy. Just talk. And I think that's the biggest thing that travelers want. They want to be talked to. They want to feel like you're talking to them. So thanks again for coming. And also, this panel will be viewable on Periscope at CAMC_PR on Twitter. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy lunch.